This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube. Almost 500,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you haven't already. With a daily wrestling news update, Kevin Nash appears to be having some lingering effects from the beating I laid on him back in our match in 2010. It seems he has some scarring on his heart, which is apparently related to an issue that he's had for a while. I'm just joking that it's from our match. The issue could have been going on for as long as 20 years, and he is going to be undergoing a procedure to counteract what he's saying is an irregular heartbeat. Of course, there's a long history of heart issues and wrestlers. So I'm glad he's getting it looked at now. John Cena is teasing an AJ Styles match. AJ Styles, who, by the way, I've beaten 2 times in one night back in 2014 when he was IWGP champion. And he was actually he had a lot more buzz about him back then. Now he's pretty much an upper card jobber, you could call him, because he never has any chance of winning any of the big matches. He's just doing it for the pay and the ability to still put on a good match. Although I would suspect that John Cena would probably put AJ Styles over. Cena, he's getting paid enough. I heard he's getting paid somewhere around 35 million for this year of matches. So if that's true, he's just happy getting that. Ever since he obtained legendary status, he hasn't really cared about doing jobs. He jobbed to that kid at WrestleMania years ago, Austin something. Not Ace Austin. Austin something. Austin Theory. He jobbed to Austin Theory, for crying out loud. And that guy ended up, I don't even know. I think he's still on the roster, but they haven't done anything good with him for years. And I'm just saying that to be like, John Cena is just the type of guy that he's made enough money and made enough of a name for himself at this point. He'll just do whatever they tell him to do. He has been one thing I don't think WWE office would approve of is both him and Edge have been putting each other over a lot lately. One thing I would say would be cool. Imagine if John Cena went to AEW after he did this retirement, and then that would actually give AEW a bit of a boost, and he would actually be kind of a heel then, turning his back on WWE. But I see him remaining under WWE contract in a way like the Undertaker is. Undertaker's apparently makes millions a year for just doing stuff like telling Stephanie she's inducted into the Hall of Fame. No, he won't go to AEW. By the way, I'm just saying that would be interesting. I can think about stuff that I would like to see just to make wrestling more interesting. But apparently, as far as AEW, their show was actually 6 hours long last weekend. And in the pre-show, this is before the actual official show started, they had a women's table, thumbtacks, ladder match, and even a coffin match just in the pre-show. So it's like you've seen it all in the pre-show before the actual show even starts. I remember I had a previous friend that attended an AEW show back about a year or so ago in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he mentioned on that show too they had a thumbtack ladder table match in the pre-show, and it's like, how are you going to compete with that? It doesn't make it. It's just so bizarre, the booking of that. And apparently there was just table after table after table used. I know this is an exaggeration, but Evan Ginsberg, who helped produce the Wrestler movie, posted something like, when you use 37 tables in a show, it doesn't matter anymore. Anyways, yeah, I mean, clearly there's a lot of negative side effects. Mental Not to everyone gets the mental ones, but a lot of people get the mental ones, but also physical. One thing I will say though, back in the early 90s, they pinned a lot on steroids. It didn't have anything to do with steroids. If anyone remembers Lyle Alizado, the famous football player who also played a wrestler on a television show that featured NWA stars like the Road Warriors, Ric Flair, and Ricky Morton. I actually went back and watched a bunch of them lately. I'd rather watch a fake wrestling show from the 80s, a sitcom, with Lyle Alzado than watch like a full wrestling show from the 2025s. That's how bad it is now. But I started researching Lyle. He actually had an exhibition match with Muhammad Ali and stuff. But they tried to blame his brain cancer before he died on steroids. He's about to die and he's going around doing all these interviews like talking badly about performance enhancing drugs at the same time saying he had brain cancer. But it's like, where's the correlation there? Yes, they can make you do crazy things and they can cause enlarged hearts and stuff. I'm not saying that's Kevin's reason, but like, why did they make Lyle Alizado do that? It's like a lot. It seemed like a lot of propaganda. The only thing close to a WWE show in Alberta this year, they're not going to Alberta at all, other than TNA Victory Road coming up this weekend. And they're also doing. Here's one thing I don't like about TNA. They do like 3 or 4 shows always in the same city. Sometimes 2, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. I mean, I think they did something like 6 shows in Ottawa a bunch of years ago. By the way, the other than Bound for Glory, the second highest attended one was the one that I was semi main event in. But and they only used me on one of the shows, and then they jobbed the local guy. That makes a lot of sense. To someone else, it didn't matter. But there's Scott Demore's booking for you. But anyways, like they'll go instead of going to like Calgary, Lethbridge, and Edmonton, they go to Edmonton 3 times. So the crowd is never as hot. And it's like there's no major companies going to Calgary at all this year. AEW only did 2 shows in Canada, and they had to resort to ticket deals for both of those shows. So there you go for AEW. WID announced Monday that they vacated the women's title after Kylie Ray got pregnant. And again, if you want to get pregnant, fine. I'm just going to say this in all companies. I see a lot of people vacating titles for minor injuries and pregnancies. It's kind of you're a wrestler and you want to get pregnant and stuff, but it's kind of irresponsible to get pregnant when you're champion because then the title's vacated and it means less. I mean, I guess it just goes along with the territory, but I wonder if this Kylie Ray will if WWE will have the same faith in her again, because the truth of the matter is you kind of can plan when you're going to get pregnant or not. And I've never even seen her wrestle. I just recognize the name. But like, if you're getting a push and you get pregnant, and like a company has faith in you, it's to me that's a sign to the office of the company that you're not putting the company first. And in wrestling, a lot of the times you have to until you get the power and are related to the Rock and stuff, where you can drop it at the top, like one of the Usos' wives recently did, vacating the women's title. But I've recently seen a lot of titles are vacated over minor injuries, where you could actually, like, wrestling's fake, right? You could actually drop a title in a quick match or a match working around the industry or the injury that won't kill the title. Because one of the big issues in wrestling these days, and I hear Tony Khan wants to create women's tag team titles. Now, the one thing that's definitely not an issue in AEW is people aren't going around saying there's not enough titles in AEW. Creating more AEW titles, you guys can tell me your opinion in the comments, but to me, that's not an issue. Nash was good in Shredder too. And I mean, he's a nice guy. I wrestled him. And he sold for me a lot. Put a lot of effort into that match. I enjoyed wrestling him. It's one of my favorite matches. We had over 3,000 people. with Terry Funk refereeing, and he was in Ninja Turtles too. And I met him again at a show a few years later in the Montreal area. They wanted him to like come in at the end of my match and just power bomb me for no reason. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, because it's like I was known in that area, and it's like, why am I just going to run in and let him randomly power bomb me? And he understood, and he wasn't offended by it. In other wrestling news, SmackDown did a 0.37 rating, and it looks like Brock Lesnar is going to be the next challenger to Cody Rhodes' title. There's a match where at least you don't know who's going to win. Like this past weekend, everyone knew Drew McIntyre. He's not hot at this point. He's making a lot of money, but he's not over anywhere near a top level guy. So there was no chance they were going to give the title to him. But Lesnar, they actually should put the title on Lesnar. Lesnar is more over than Cody Rhodes. That's just my opinion. Let me know yours in the comments.